y'all. This is Pauline Reese. Thanks for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.
Hey, guys. Okay. We are back with another amazing guest here on the Boston Chris podcast. We have Max and Heather Stalling here on the show. And I got to say, Max, I've been a fan of your wife for a lot longer than I've been a fan of yours.
Oh.
Same here.
I imagine we have that in common for sure. One of my favorite.
You, me, and a whole lot of other people.
Absolutely. I'm just going to tell you, Heather, one of my favorite records of all time is the self-titled BlacktopGYPSY record.
Oh my gosh, you're going to make me cry.
No crying. That comes later.
Well, thank you for saying that. That really means a whole lot.
Yeah, it's just a phenomenal record. And I put out there last night on Facebook, I said, guys, man, my gig is so difficult because my research is listening to music. And so last night, my research was just watching an NBA game and listening to that record. And you can't beat it. You just can't. And I've just been a fan of yours and Andie's for a really, really long time, and I'm excited to have you here. And of course, I met Max at Love and War in Lindale years ago. Didn't realize how tall he was. And we see eye to eye. I think you're what, 6'4", 6'5", right?
Yeah, 6'5" is what the state of Texas tells me.
Yeah, me too. I'm about 6'4" and a quarter. I'm shrinking, of course. So, I keep getting shorter every time I go to the doctor.
Yeah,
it happens.
It happens.
Yeah, right? It's not good. Gravity sucks, man.
In some ways, I'm kind of glad to have it.
Yeah, same. So part of the reason we're talking with Max and Heather today is because they are coming to my neck of the woods in Winnsboro on Saturday, May 10th. It's at the Bowery Stage, which is just one of the best rooms in East Texas, maybe even in all of Texas, to be honest. Just a phenomenal room. And tickets are still on sale. There are a couple left. So if you guys want to get some of those, there'll be a link in the description below. That is May 10th, 7:30. What can people expect from a duo show of yours?
It's a lot of original material and some fantastic fiddle playing and some marginal guitar playing. And
that's not true. And Max will probably tell a few dad jokes.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, it happens.
It's top-notch comedy, isn't it, Heather?
What's that?
I said it's top-notch comedy, isn't it?
It's top shelf, dude. This is highly choreographed and scripted, and
But no, I love this place because it's so intimate. Last time my sister and my brother-in-law came and they sat on the front row.
Yeah,
and that was a little
intimate.
But it's I don't know. We really love playing venues like that where we can see everybody and kind of communicate at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah, and Winnsboro's a cool town too, on top of everything else.
Yeah, people are paying attention there too. They're not there to look at their phones or whatever. They're attention. And
yeah, you can hear the people breathing in there.
Yeah. Is it daunting as an artist to know that you are the sole focus? Because I know you guys do the restaurant stuff and all kinds of different venues and stuff. Is it a little more daunting knowing that you're the focal point?
There's a fine line. It depends on how much you have to drink before the show.
Right. Yeah.
I'm joking. That's not true. It is.
It's partly true.
It's kind of like if they weren't paying attention, we'd probably get our feelings hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But then that whole literally can hear somebody shuffle their foot or nobody wants to cough or sneeze. But I don't want people to not come because they think it's like a church service or something. It's not like that. It's just people really are there listening in a meaningful way, and it's really it's daunting, but it's really what I think we're seeking.
But when they laugh at your jokes, you love that. So there's that.
Well, that's when you put a little check mark next to that joke, right? This one worked. We'll use that.
Right.
one.
This one. That's dog will hunt. Yeah.
That's
keep that one.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad jokes have turned into granddad jokes now that I have.
Oh
wow.
Yeah, so that's good stuff.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. So we do have a couple of songs that we're going to include as part of this episode. The first one is the Pila Song, and this is a live. They're both live versions that we got off of their YouTube. Tell us a little bit about this song. This is both kinds of music, country and Western, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this one's been around for a long time. I put this on the third record that I put out back in '02, I think is when this record came out originally. And then we've re-recorded it a couple of times live. We've done some other live versions. The first one was on a record that Bruce Robinson produced for me. And it's really stripped down. It's very sparse production on that first version. And then, over the years with the band, we've made it this giant production with all these stops and starts and, segments and pieces and interludes. And so this version that you're probably going to play, I assume, is just Heather and I?
Yes.
And so
I don't think I've heard it, but I don't like to hear it. I'm hoping.
But it's a story song, a la kind of Marty Robbins gunfighter ballads kind of thing,
Yes.
No question about channeling some of that. And it's based on a story that I heard when I was a little kid from my mother, who said that she in turn had heard this story when she was a little kid. And so theoretically, I don't know for certain that it's a true story, but it's truly a story.
And just man, I got to tell you, the layers that the fiddle adds to the story when it's just you and her is just phenomenal.
It really emotes, right?
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Has yeah.
Y'all gonna give me a big head today.
Well, it's true though. And people will see that when we play it here. It's just, I implore people to go back, revisit the produced version of the song after hearing this, and just kind of listen to the differences and how much the right word is emote. That's so true. Like how much it emotes. And honestly, you could just close your eyes and picture like a Taylor Sheridan story happening, right? Like a Yellowstone type of story.
I like that.
Do you know Taylor? Could you throw this over the fence to him?
I don't know him, but you know what? What's the restraining order between friends, right?
That's just
I'm sure he's watching this.
Oh, I'm sure he's tuned in, right?
Yeah, maybe. If he is, call me. Yeah, we're excited to show this song to everybody out there. And like I said, check out the original version as well if you haven't heard it yet. I'm sure a lot of you guys have, but this is the Pila song. This is just Heather and Max on stage, the two of them, and we have it here. Y'all check it out.
Well, the wind was hot and the sun was hard. I was beaten, my mare was tired, and the fence line I was riding stretched forever. My mind drifted off and back to Carmela and her heart of black and the things that she'd said to me yesterday. So when the boss sent me out checking fences, I was glad, 'cause I knew that it meant I could spend some time out all alone. Well, I wiped the sweat that stung my eyes, looked up and I realized I was coming up on the south windmill. And the concrete tank stood there beside the water trough that it supplied. When the trough was full, the mill could keep on pumping, 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 pumping. So we drank deep from the shallow trough, and wetting my hair gave me the thought that a swim in that big tank might cool me down, cool me down. I shucked my duds and hung 'em on the fence, climbed the wires to reach the rim, pulled myself on up and I jumped right in. And the water was cool down underneath, but deeper than I thought it'd be. There was no ladder and the walls were slick with moss. Well, sure enough, I got cooled down when I found I had no way out. The thought of a rat in the feet then chilled my blood. Well, at first I laughed at the fix I was in, then my troubles all sank in. Without some help, I was there to stay. And I screamed and clawed to no avail, till my dignity and voice had failed. Wore my fingers down on those damn walls. And I marked the time with the windmill shade, passing across my mossy grave, and the cows coming to water twice a day. Figured lightning strike, a rattlesnake or barroom fight would do me in, and not some Mexican road. The fact is I was hot and dumb, struck stupid by the sun and love. So on the one hand, I guess she played her part. Through all that time I cussed her lots, but I cussed myself the most because I had not looked before I'd left. Now overhead an eagle soars, and I smell rain coming from the north. I wonder if she'll even shed one tear. Oh, just one tear. Over me, just one tear over me. For a beautiful night. We appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Thank you so
All right, so we are back with Max and Heather Stalling here on the Boston Chris podcast for the first time.
That was a lot of work.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you guys did great. The transporter is working overtime today. Man, we're excited to have you in Winnsboro, and Kevin Tinney is just doing a great job out there with the booking and just a phenomenal venue and stuff. I hope you guys will check that out, because not just Heather and Max is coming there, but Adam and Chris Carroll are going to be there later in the year, and Kayla Ray will be there later this year as well with Zach Aaron. Just a phenomenal.
They just had. Didn't they just have James McMurtry there?
They did. Met James. John Fulbright
ago.
was there last weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just a crazy lineup. Susan Gibson was there recently as well. So you guys make sure you're following them. I'm going to put a link in the description down below. That's with Winnsboro Cultural Arts. I think this is the name of the nonprofit that puts that together. So y'all make sure.
And that's a good point. Another reason to come out is to support the nonprofit aspect.
Yeah, and the arts. It's not just music that they're supporting. It's also actual art as well. Like you go in there, you can see sculptures and on canvas art as well. They're displaying all of that stuff. And I believe it's from all local sculpturists and artists and stuff like that. So it's just a great place, and I hope you guys will support. So let's break the ice a little bit. We're supposed to break the ice earlier in the episode, but what are you guys drinking? What's your favorite drinks right now?
Oh, favorite drink.
I'm supposed to say water.
I'm not a doctor, so you can answer however you want.
Yeah, I'm a white wine drinker. I am now. I don't know. It changes, but that's where I am these days. What about you?
I split my time evenly between red wine, Shiner Light beer, and some variety of bourbon.
There you go. And those are not sponsor related, right? You're not answering that based on who your sponsors are right now.
Oh.
Just the one in the middle.
I figured. I was like,
which is really good.
I was like, I'm pretty sure Max is sponsored by Shiner, so there you go.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure. Let's go.
I think he would drink it whether he was sponsored by them or not.
I would.
You have had some different sponsors in the past.
I have, but it's a really great product. It's really good. I like it. If God forbid our relationship doesn't move forward in the future, then I will still partake of that product because it's really.
Well, they're going to drop you now. Quick as.
Yeah, it's a done deal now.
Yeah, it's over.
It's over.
Get it. Yeah, I was talking with Brandon Ryder last year, and we were talking about sponsorships. He says it started with whiskey, then it went to beer. Now I'm sponsored by water. I was like, so what are you saying, Brandon? Pedialyte is next? Like, what's going on here with you?
Yeah, Ensure.
Yeah, Ensure. Exactly. Oh,
we'll have to look into the water thing.
So we had a segment on that one called "The Evolution of the Sponsorship."
That's good.
Yeah. So where did you guys grow up? I know, Max, you grew up in the Crystal City area, right? But I'm not real sure.
Yeah, down. She's a local over there.
I grew up most of my life in East Texas, out in Bullard, Texas.
Okay, I thought so. I wasn't sure though.
I spent a little time in Mineola, where you are, but mostly Bullard. And then I moved back home and raised our son in Bullard. So I've spent a good chunk of my life there, and I have the best memories. I love East Texas. I miss it.
Yeah, and you guys are in Dallas now, right?
We are.
We get our mail here, as Max always says.
Yeah, you guys are busy for sure. My goodness, I've been looking at the tour; it never stops. Golly, and I mean, you guys have done hundreds of shows per year in the past. Are you guys still keeping up that?
Yeah, we're still doing 120, 130 shows a year.
Golly,
very thankful.
Not as busy as some, and not as little as others. We're working about the amount that we want to. We're kind of, knock on wood, we're at the spot where we can say, I don't know, do we really want to do that? Or we can say, hey, we're going to go plow some new ground, and we're going to go to Kansas, and we're going to go to Missouri and see if we can shake the bushes up there and try that out. So we've been trying to grow the circle a little bit.
Leaving Texas, like that's going to be, I mean, I imagine at first that was probably hard, kind of paying your dues elsewhere, right? That's going to be tough.
It is. We were humbled last year.
Good word.
For sure.
Humble is the right word.
But it's kind of nice sometimes going somewhere where you don't know anybody and they don't know you. It's a different experience. And so you're thankful for the 10 people that show up, or the you know.
Yeah, I mean,
and if it's more than that, you're extremely grateful, and you kind of take it for granted sometimes here in Texas, you know. And it's really, I don't know. We love getting to see new country and meet new people. So I don't know.
And it's fun to start over, so to speak. You
Yeah.
know, we go up to Kansas and we're playing at Knuckleheads, which has 4 stages, you know, from the 5,000 cap room to all the way down to we're playing in the, what do they call it? The Gospel Lounge, which is this really groovy, funky 60 cap room. And it's just fun. It's like back to why we got into this in the first place, you know?
Yeah.
And we can play the same set list. I
can tell stories that I used to tell years ago, and they're like, oh, fresh material.
Yeah. Bring back the 30-year-old story. Yep.
That's right.
Or some of those jokes that didn't get the check mark, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
I love that. So, growing up, who were some of your first musical influences that you can remember that really got you to want to do this as a living?
Heather?
Oh, you're talking to me or to him?
Both. Yeah, both. Either or.
Wait, you start.
I mean, I had a bunch of older siblings, and they had pretty large record collections, and so I would filter through those, and I was really turned on. I mean, I heard everything from Haggard to Nelson to Johnny Cash to the Beatles to Johnny Horton to ELO to, I mean, a large swath of all that. And then I really got into like rock and pop when I was in, when I started being able to afford buying my own music. And so a lot of that stuff. But then the people who really influenced the whole singer-songwriter aspect, the Guy Clarks, the Steve Earles, the Robert Keens, the Lyle Lovetts, the people who were writing their own. Once I found out about songwriting and that there were, it just never occurred to me that somebody had to write these songs. Mm-hmm. That's when those are the people that really inspired like what I do now.
Good answer.
Yeah.
I think yours is going to be a little different than that, right, Heather?
Mine's a lot different. When I was really young, my parents, on the side, they didn't do it for a living, but I would come home and they would be recording themselves on their little 8-track or whatever it is, their reel-to-reel, mm-hmm. And I thought my dad was Gordon Lightfoot. I thought my mom was Joan Baez. Like I really thought that's when I heard the records. I thought they were kind of hippie folk singers. And I thought everybody's parents did that, when I was a kid. And so I think that's probably, and then they love music. I heard everything from, like I said, Gordon Lightfoot, but my mom loved the Beatles, James Taylor, Jim Croce,
Simon and Garfunkel.
My dad was kind of a Merle Haggard, Willie Nelson. So I got kind of a little bit of everything. So, and I still do.
Yeah. So even though the answers are different, you guys were both gravitating towards the songwriter, it sounds like, because I hear a lot of songwriters on both sides of your answers.
Yeah.
I wish that I could say, like, I am not a songwriter. I attempted.
That is not true at all.
I'm a melody person. I love a beautiful melody line. That's the first thing I hear before I hear the words. And I think he's kind of the opposite. He hears the words first. I have to really pay attention, unless I'm going through something really terrible. And then the words are definitely the first thing that I pay attention to. But I,
Yeah.
Are you hearing melodies in everyday like conversation, or like is that how your brain works musically?
I think all the time. I think as a kid, I think they're always in the back of my head. While I'm talking to you, there's probably something a little bit going on back there that makes no sense. But yeah.
I don't know how she does it. She's explained it to me that there's just like a soundtrack running constantly in the back of her mind. So I don't know how you focus on.
I don't. I'm a little insane.
Have you guys ever heard of Steve Dorff?
Well, I don't know the name.
So Steve Dorff wrote "I Cross My Heart" and "Through the Years."
Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
he's probably a little more well known for being a composer for film and TV. He's written scores of scores, let's say, but
Scores
Well,
of
there you go.
scores.
he's very much similar to what you're going through. Is really he's writing soundtracks every day, all day. Like he'll be in a baseball game and he's writing the music to the baseball game
Yeah.
that he sees, and he calls it spasmic bubbles, is what he sees, or plasmic bubbles, or something, and that's how he describes his music. Like he can almost see the notes in the air. He's just so
I love
unique.
that.
And it
Fascinating.
sounds like you might be pretty close to that as well. Kind of like being a
I
conduit.
just call it insanity. I don't know.
No, he uses that word somewhat as well, but I find it incredibly ironic that you don't call yourself a songwriter when you're dealing with songwriting all day, every day in the back of your brain. Yeah, you should probably own that.
Yeah. Do you see music? Do
No.
you see it?
Not necessarily.
You just hear it.
It's just there. Yeah, it's strange. And like I said, I thought everybody kind of was like that.
Yeah,
No, yeah. It's when I say I'm not a songwriter, I don't think I am as good with lyrics as some of my friends.
and that's okay. I mean, it's okay to be strong at
Yeah.
melody and weak on lyrics. Steve's the same way.
Right.
He cannot write lyrics. He'll be the first to admit it. And he's always just kind of coupled himself with the best lyrical writers he can find over the years, and that's why the music works. And it sounds
like
that's
Elton
why-
John and
Exactly
Brian
right.
Johnson.
Exactly. That's a great example. Yes. But that's probably why, on a musical level, your partnership with Max works pretty well in the songwriting department. I don't know what your songwriting life looks like as a couple, but if he's lyrically strong and you're melodically strong, that probably works pretty well for y'all, right?
You know, it's funny. We really have only sat down to try to write together. What do you think?
A few
5 times?
times.
5 times total, with big goose egg result. But I think we both were thinking we needed to bring everything to the table. And I think if we can take Boston's advice and just bring our strengths to the table
yeah.
and lean on the other one, I'm very excited about the proposition of what we can create.
Yeah. And I'm shy. I'm not another thing that he hates when I say this, but I don't have lead singer voice. And so I'm very shy, and I don't, and so I think it keeps me from, I could do it in front of Andie Kay because I don't know. It's
Right.
different, but
Right.
if I was a great singer, things might be different.
So we're to not answer your question, but we're still kind of finding our way in that whole relation, that aspect of our musical journey.
Yeah.
What's your songwriting process like, Max? Or like, is it very lyrical based? Is it hook based for you?
Yeah, it usually starts with some. It's rarely like. I have all these friends that write to prompts, like, okay, this week's prompt is, throw a word out there, and that just does not really work for me.
Yeah.
Something has to. Sometimes it's just sitting down with a guitar and like GCDs. For some reason, I'll hear something in a pattern that I've played 100 times. There'll be just some little nuanced melody or something in there, and then that leads to some lyrics, or sometimes I'll have a phrase or something, but it always has to kind of marry with something. It can't ever just be like the quick brown fox jumped over the log. That does nothing for me. Does that make any sense?
It does, absolutely. That's going to be frustrating though. Like if you have deadlines and if you're wanting to put a record out or a single out, that's going to be a little frustrating that you can't just do it on command, right?
Yes,
Well,
but I've removed all demands.
Yeah.
He's a perfectionist too. So he has songs that I would say have been finished for 5 years, but he will not put it out to everyone else until he feels like it's perfect. And so, there's that process.
That can kind of gum up the work sometimes.
Is that a creative thing? Like you just don't want to put it out there because it's not finished, or is it more like a almost like a brand thing? I don't want to put my name on that yet. You know what I mean?
I think I'm not really sure. I think maybe some of it is fear of failure also. It's like, if I say it's not finished, then I don't have to show it to anybody. Therefore, they can't say your baby is ugly.
I understand. Yeah, and people don't realize how hard it is to be vulnerable, right? Like, and then on top of that, like, you're writing a song in hopes of it being a hit, right? And in hopes of people liking it. I mean, that's ultimately the goal. But at the same time, you are taking a huge risk by putting a song out, because it is your heart. It is something you're going to have to repeatedly play live if it does hit, right? So are you thinking about those things when you finalize a song? Like, this is something I might have to play the rest of my life.
I used to not, but I do now. Now I do, because
there's a couple of songs that he wishes he would have never played.
I mean,
and he gets asked for them all the time, and people love it, and then he doesn't. You know,
it's one of these things where you paint the Mona Lisa. Nobody wants to see that. They want to see that stick figure that you did about the guy slipping on the banana peel. Mm-hmm. Like, really? What about the masterpiece that's got all the modulations and the chord changes and the pretty flowery words and all the internal rhyme? Nah. Yeah. I mean, they like them, but they're not like they like that one about drinking beer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be frustrating, man. Like, the masterpiece that you think is the masterpiece is not what everybody likes. Yeah, I can understand that. And there's so many artists, great writers out there that have signature songs that they most likely hate singing all the time.
I was reading this thing about Waylon Jennings the other day. Waylon Jennings nor the two guys who wrote it ever had set foot in Lukenbach, Texas.
Yep.
And then it was 30 years before he went to Lukenbach, and he played Willie Nelson's Picnic in '97, I think. And he refused to play that song because he didn't like it. Yeah. He didn't like it. He didn't like it, and he didn't play it.
I wonder if he started off liking the song, right? Like, if he started off liking it. He had to
start off liking it, or he wouldn't have recorded it,
But, like, everybody's asking him to play it, and probably throughout the whole show. Like, I went to a Pat Green show recently, and I must have heard the words "wave on wave" at least 50 times before he played the song. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, Pat Green is known for more than "wave on wave." Like, stop this.
Well, but also Pat knows that he's got a set list right. He's gonna put it towards the end of the show where it's.
Did he play it?
Of course, but like even he said during the show, he's like, if I play it right now, everybody's gonna leave. Like, why would I play it right now? Like, no, I'm not playing it right now.
You don't serve the steak fronters.
Yeah, that's right, man. You're gonna have to eat a little salad first. All right, that's
right. Yeah. Right. You gotta hear. You guys gotta sit there and listen to this new material that you're gonna hate.
That's right.
Until I play the old stuff.
That's when they go to the bathroom. Actually, we've noticed that.
It's just. I feel like consumers out there, the fans of music, don't realize the process that it must take for you as a songwriter to choose what you're gonna sing for the rest of your life. And I can't imagine what it's like either. And that's why I love being able to chat with songwriters, man. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't do it.
But it's still, look, man, it's still, at the end of the day, you get to go out there and play something in front of a group of people that you made up. Yeah. Right. And that's what you do for a living. Oh, woe is me. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to play that song. Yeah. Tough times, So anyway, it is. It's not.
But if you have one new, it's weird what people gravitate to. And it's, you'll play a new song every 5-6 months, but when they ask for it again, and it's just weird. I don't know what makes a song
what people glom onto
to where it becomes our set list. It's just, and it's not. There's not a lot. Once you got your basic, it takes a while for something to make it to the set list, I guess. It's strange.
I've writing set lists that's not like the worst. That's the chore that I'll drive, I'll load, I'll pack up the gear, I'll do it all. Just please don't make me write the set list.
Are you the same way with the track list on an album?
As far as like putting an album together?
Putting them in order and stuff?
Yeah. No, that's a different thing, because that's like putting the chapters in a book.
Right.
And that's fun. That's cool. And I love that whole experience of like, okay, I finally got the 12 songs that are going to go on the record. And now what order do they go into? And how long do you want the space between the two songs? And, you know, we've kind of lost that now with singles in the digital world. But that whole experience of sitting down with an album and listening to the whole thing front to back, and the songs, they go in a specific order for some reason that only maybe the artist or the producer knows. And so, yeah, that part I love, but the whole, we got 4 gigs this weekend. Let's go ahead and write 4 set lists. Oh man.
So she's doing that then.
We're working on it.
So
I have been lately, and I love doing it, but I'll tell you, the only problem we run into is I'll show it to him and I'll say, how about this? And he's like, well, you can't have 2 funny songs back to back, or this is because I don't pay attention to the words. I don't even know some of the words to some of the songs that he's been singing.
That's great.
And we've been playing together for all of these years. I'll hear something and I'll be like, oh, that's what he's saying right there. But I don't, so I pay more attention, like what key is the song in? We don't want to have 3 songs in the key of A, and we want to upbeat and then a mid tempo, and then let's put a ballad here. And
I love this. I've never really talked about the strategy of set lists. I'm very intrigued by this. So are you preparing the set list based on show to show too? Like we played this one last show, we don't want to play it this show, or are you even paying attention to the set list? Like let's say you play Love of War in Plano in October, you play it again in March. Are you paying attention to those as well and trying to play something?
Yeah.
He saves every set list. He prints them. He saves them on his as a Word document, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so like we're playing Larry Joe's festival on Thursday. And so we always go back and look at the last one, whether it was Rhymes and Vines or Larry Joe's in April or September, and we see what we did then and make sure that we don't repeat. There's some that you have to do every time.
Of course,
that's probably 4 songs that you always have to play. And then we try to change it up for our benefit too, but mostly for the people that are out there so they don't say, we kind of, why are you playing the same thing all the time?
And then you go to like, well, is this a sit down room? Is this an energetic room? Is this Billy Bob's, or is this the Bowery stage? You know what I mean? And so that will dictate also kind of song selection.
Full band and duo, totally different stuff.
Is this more of a storytelling setting, or is this more of a danceable?
Maybe we're overthinking it.
No, I don't think you are at all. I think this is brilliant. And, I'm looking at this as like a wrestling fan, right? Like if you go to a WWE show, you don't want to go to the same show in March that you saw in December, right? So obviously they're going to have a different lineup each time. You don't want to see Macho Man versus Hulk Hogan every single time, right? So
yes, and the same moves and the same.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you're overthinking it at all. In fact, I think artists could learn a lot from this segment. I'll keep it real. Like I'm really excited that you guys shared this, because I think this could really help a lot of artists out there. I feel there's a lot of artists out there that I go to the show and then I go to a second show, and if it's any even a smidgen similar to the first one, I'm not going to a third one. Right? I mean, otherwise, I'm just seeing the same thing every time. So why would I go to that third show? But if you guys are making an attempt to make the second show as completely different from the first as you can, then I want to see the third show, because I want to see how you change it again and again and again. So no, I don't think you're overthinking it at all.
Now we do have, there's kind of like big rocks, like endings of like show enders, and there's some stuff like that kind of.
That's what I said. There's 4 or 5 songs that
kind of stay, but then in between those things and try to change it up, and let's not play those. Now, if you went on a 4-day run with us and we were pressed for time to get out of the house. Now, I know a lot of performers, and they write their set list like the hour before the show.
Right.
We're a little more kind of put to, I don't know. That's never worked for me. Like those kind of people also don't book their hotel until they get done with the gig.
Well, but then we also we'll play a place like the Bowery stage probably. A lot of times we'll look at the set list and just say, what do y'all want to hear? And then the rest of the night. Which is always
fun.
And we love doing that until they ask for the 2 or 3 songs that he hates to play.
Oh, hey. Would rather not.
And he's like, but we asked what you wanted to hear. And so you have to do it. And It's always fun.
Well,
But
then-
I might, if we go on a 4-day run, I might just print the same set for each show. So if we're gonna go to Oklahoma City, Knuckleheads in Missouri,
Yeah, where they've never heard us.
and they never heard us, and we might do that. But if we're gonna play, Love and War, yeah. So to your point, there's a lot of variables.
So just so to keep the metaphor intact here, wrestling is the same way. If they're on a 4-day run, the show is exactly the same for those 4 days. But if they come
Right.
back again for another 4-day run in the same area 6 months later, it's going to be different, guaranteed.
Gotta have a new show. Gotta have a new show.
Absolutely. I love that, and I'm sure
Thanks,
as
man.
artists, maybe you're reading the room, so that can change your set list. Maybe
Always.
you perform a song and it does well, so that can change the next song because it went well.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and you have to be kind of spontaneous in that way as well as creative people. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, and if the room starts going one direction, you're like, oh, you kind of have to,
If they get sleepy, if you
Yeah,
oh,
you're
maybe
like,
we're playing
uh-oh.
too many slow songs, we need
right?
to
Or
just,
these people really want to dance. I had no idea. So
Yeah.
then, and look, we write these set lists, and 9 times out of 10, we wander off the path.
Of course.
Start calling
Yeah.
all of these anyway,
Absolutely.
which is fun.
Which
That's
also
life.
makes it a
That's
new
life,
show
yeah.
because that makes it a new show too because it's not going to be the same weave
Right.
that you did last time, right? It's
Right. Yeah.
completely,
Yeah.
spontaneous. So that's good stuff. Max, one of the reasons why you're one of my favorite songwriters, and I really wanted to chat with you about this. I feel like you take these songs and they're modern songs, they're relevant to now, they resonate with people today, but they have such a vintage feel to the song. I'd like to hear you talk about that because I know that has to be a strategy somewhat, right?
I think you're giving me a little too much credit.
So
there,
it's more
Boston.
organic than that.
No, I mean, no, and I mean, I definitely I grew up. My parents I was kind of born as a surprise. My parents were in their mid to late 40s when I was born, and so that probably must have some. I know a lot of people that grew up in the Depression, and so maybe there's some of that. And my siblings are boomers, but I'm actually more kind of what's the one after the boomers, Gen X or
I
whatever.
have no
No,
idea.
anyway, that doesn't matter. But but the sensibilities and the stuff that I would really listen to a lot, and particularly being a songwriter, the Guy Clarks, and they have all that same sensibility. I think,
Yeah.
So maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
just
never really considered it, but it's not. I'll just say this: it's not really a strategy. I wouldn't say, but I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it's just blind ass luck, I guess.
well, it's definitely, I feel as your fan, I think it's who you are. I love it. You talked about the Gunfighter ballad earlier that we shared and that Marty Robbins feel. Man, there's so much of that in your music. Like you can go in and listen, and if you're a fan of a different era of country music, you can kind of pick apart those artists that you're kind of channeling, like the Marty Robbins in that song. Like there's some Johnny Cash vibes here and there, and the Marty Stewart I pick up a lot of times in your music, and George Strait from time to time. Like and that's what I mean by like that vintage feel to your music. Like it means a lot to people now, but it resonates to a past era of music, I feel. And I feel like that's a
I'll
tough
take
thing to
that as a
balance.
high compliment.
Well, it's meant
I will
as
take that
one.
as a
It
high
really
compliment.
truly is. And a lot of times when I try to compliment it, it can come off as something other than that. So I hope it does. I love the music. I love the songwriting, and I'm just stoked to have you here. I'm going to get back to the not songwriter to your left, though, who keeps saying she's not a songwriter, because I want to chat with you. You have this partnership with Max, but you had a songwriting partnership with Andie prior to him. And
Yes.
I know you brought a lot to that table as well. You may not agree to that, but I'd love to hear how that relationship musically worked for you as a songwriter as well.
I mean, the difference is, and I think when I actually started writing songs, I had gone through a divorce, and I listened to a lot of Merle Haggard, and I mean, I was obsessed with Merle Haggard. I bought every single just random truck stop tape. I think I still had a tape player back then, or at least CD. And so I really felt like I had, for the first time, something to say, I guess. And then Andie Kay, I met her. She's from East Texas as well. She's from Wills Point and Edgewood. I know you know where that is. And so we became best friends really fast. And still I talk to her every day. But I really don't even know. We started playing in different bands together, and then we would end up on the couch, and we actually started kind of writing just, I wouldn't say man-hating songs, but I think that was the theme starting out.
Nothing wrong with that.
They became a little more serious, but not really. But I think that was kind of how it all started out. We both, had been in terrible relationships, and which Max always says, find a terrible relationship and you'll get a couple records out of that.
Stay with it as long as you can. And get a lot of material.
And so, and she's very, we have the same taste and she's just got the most amazing voice. And I don't know, I could say, sing this, and she would sing it just exactly the way I was hearing it. And I started playing guitar at that point, and she did too. And I don't know, it worked. I've never really had that happen again. I mean, there are people that I don't know if you know Courtney Patton.
Of course, yes.
I feel that way about her. I think she's got the same kind of voice to me that Andie Kay has, and there's something about it that just I love, and it makes me want to write, I guess. I
understand.
You're a boy. It's hard.
I completely understand. But also it was a time in your life when you had the time to take a whole day and just sit and write a song.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything else going on. My
Logan,
son was in school every
Logan
day.
at
And
school,
so
y'all could just sit
Well, not
down.
only that, but it's hard to find success in music with joy.
it really is.
Yeah.
And it's a thing. It's a thing. But I mean, there's nothing better than a really great love song too, and it's just, they're the hardest to write. And I think I'm sure you've talked to a lot of people about it. It's just, they're hard.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're being cheesy or.
And I would say it's easy. It's easy to write a love song. It's hard to write a unique love song, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So
it's
hard to say something the same way in a different way.
Yes.
Or say the same thing in a different way, rather. Yeah.
Well, like Bruce Robinson told me, I was bemoaning this fact. I was like, man, he was like, listen, it's all been said. We just hadn't all had a chance to say it.
That's right.
And so, yeah, you're looking for some twist that's been talked about since man first beat on a log and blew in a shell. I mean, we've been saying the same thing about love. A lot of people have tried it.
And then a melody line is the same way. You think, oh my gosh, this is so good. And then you play it and you're like, wait a minute. This sounds just like.
It's a Burt Bacharach song.
Yep. I love that you're talking about that, because the second song we're playing today is Circle, which I believe was y'all's first duo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Single.
Yeah.
And so,
and it is a love song.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk about it yet, but like that right there is leading towards us talking about that, because I feel like you guys said the same thing in a different way with that song. So let's
awesome.
Let's keep that right there at the forefront until we can talk about that. But yeah, man, I'm just I told you earlier, huge fan of Blacktop Gypsy, a huge fan of yours and Andie Kay. I'm hoping someday I'll get to talk with Andie Kay as well on the show. Just been huge fans of yours for over 10 years.
She's got a great story.
Yeah.
She's got an incredible story.
I know she does.
I don't know if you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No. I know.
Been through it.
And speaking of Courtney, I'm finally going to have her on the show coming up too. I've been trying to get her for an interview for over 10 years, and just stoked that we finally get to chat with Courtney. She's so incredible as well.
She's a busy girl.
She is, and that's the hard part. Like, all of y'all are down to do interviews. It's just really trying to find a date that works. Man, I get it. Believe me. Let's talk a little bit about record producing as well, because you got Blind Nello Records, right? And I don't think I've found an interview where you've chatted about this. What was the genesis for this idea?
So I'm actually only a member of the Blind Nello Records organization. So, are you familiar with our friend Mark David Manders?
Of course, yeah.
So Mark, this is his record label, right? I mean,
Okay.
he started this when he was putting out projects, and he would get kind of rejection from people that would say, and this is early in the Americana days. We're talking late 90s, early 2000s. And so he'd get this pushback from either record radio stations or, distributors or whatever, like, well, what label are you on? He's like, I don't have a label. We're like, well, you got to have a label. And this was that period where the do-it-yourself thing really started. You didn't have to have a label, as it turns out. Mm-hmm. But so that he had something to say, he came up with this Blind Nello Records, which if you've ever played dominoes, particularly when you play 42, if you go Blind Nello, if you go Nello, you're going to bet that you lose every hand.
Yeah.
Okay. You look at your dominoes and you're like, man, these are terrible. I bet I can play these in such a way that I lose every hand. Okay. And so you bet a mark that you're going to. Mark took it a step further. There's something that's called Blind Nello. You don't even look at your dominoes, and you say, I'm going Blind Nello. I'm going to lose every hand. And his bass player, Rush Sherfield, said, man, that is a great metaphor for what we're trying to do here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's a great story. And so Mark started this little label, and it was literally a label that he stuck on the CDs that he was sending out to, pick whatever. And it just kind of became fun. And then he asked me if I wanted to be on it. And then after that was Houston Marchman, and then Kevin Deal, and then finally BlacktopGYPSY did a record with us. Our motto is Blind Nello Records. We don't do anything for you, but we won't do anything to you. It did actually wind up having some gravitas because we leveraged it and got a distribution deal with Steve Earle's Vanity label. He had E Squared Records, which was distributed by Sony. And man, we were a real live. I mean, all we did was everybody would put the label on it and put the UPC and then ship it to the distributor. But man, you could really sell records and actually make money at $12 a piece or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's where it all came from.
Yeah, I had to hear the story because I've seen other interviews, and there's nothing out there on it.
We still do one show. We do one show a year. Yeah. We do a Christmas show in McKinney, Texas. Mm-hmm. Houston, Mark, Heather, and Kevin Deal, and it's just a ton of fun, and it's so ridiculous.
It's the Blind Nello Company Christmas party.
It's the Blind Nello Records Company Christmas party, and it is so ridiculous.
See, I'm not a domino. I've never really played dominoes since I've been out of the military. I played a little bit in the Navy, but I played a lot of spades, and they have the same thing in spades.
It's the same game.
Yeah,
it's
nil and blind nil in spades. So like you would literally bid blind nil, and if you without seeing your cards, and if you didn't pull a book, then you would get double the points, and that's how you could catch up in the game. But if you did pull a book, then you would take double the points, and then you're kind of screwed, right? So,
right, then you're screwed. And I think that whole catching up in the game is also an element of the name of the label.
Love it. Yeah, I love it.
We have shirts and everything.
Yeah. See, that means it's legitimate at that point, right? If you have shirts and everything, that makes it a legitimate enterprise.
It's legit, man.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're here with Heather and Max Stalling, first time on the Boston Chris podcast. We're going to take a brief break. Here is a commercial from my buddy Pappy Middleton down there at Palmyra Studios in Palmer, Texas. He's looking for understudies. Speaking of reel to reel, he is still recording in reel to reel. So y'all check this out.
I'm putting it together right now, and I'd love to get it out that any student, I don't care how old you are or what, if your heart lies within this kind of domain of the sound, playing, any of that, I'm gonna start taking one day out of every couple of weeks and invite students in for a very small charge, and I will tell you whatever you want. Any question you got, I'll try to answer it.
Well, I will certainly put that out there. I'll make this a little ad for you, and we can share it.
Because they'll have full access to the studio, everything. I can tell them everything about how all of this started from analog into the digital world, and you'll be able to have hands-on, and I'll show you why analog sounds better than digital.
Amazing. Yeah, I'll definitely cut this out. I'll make a little ad out of it, and we can share it everywhere.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Because I'd love to do it. That's my legacy, is to leave with.
It's the pass it down, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all right. So we are back.
Heather has a.
Go ahead.
Heather, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I blew.
Yeah.
I blew.
No,
your,
you're
I blew
good.
Your,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say Heather's got a great Palmyra story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's not great. It's kind of.
Well,
it's,
I mean,
I'd love
it's a
to
good
hear it.
story.
Yeah, Pappy's a good friend of mine.
okay. It was September 11th. The September 11th, I guess, and at this point I was in real estate school. I've had a lot of school, and this time I was in real estate school, and all of a sudden we're in there, and they turned the TVs on, and we could see the Twin
But
Towers.
You're in the studio with Houston Marchman, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I was in, and then I had to go do that day after I left class. I was supposed to head down to the studio and do a record with Houston Marchman. And so I guess I had a cell phone back then. I'm not even sure, but I called Houston. I saw this happening on the TV, and I said, "Hey, the kids weren't sure if they should stay at school." And I just said, are we still doing this session? He said, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I drove down there, and I'm trying to play my parts. I'm sure it's terrible. I haven't even gone back and listened to what I played on this record, but I'm, in the background behind me, there's a TV, and this is,
Wow.
when all this is going down. So I'll always remember.
Yeah.
But I should go back and listen to this record. I haven't talked to Houston about this in a long time, but
Well, we're going to see him on Saturday.
yeah. So anyway, it's not that interesting of a story.
I think it's a great. It's fun. Well, it's maybe it's.
But you brought up
factoid.
Palmyra Studio. I'm so glad to hear that he's still recording out there.
Yeah, he's man. Pappy's a badass. Let's just be honest, man.
Yeah.
That man has had cancer for like 9 years, and I keep telling him, you don't have cancer, or what do I say? You don't have cancer. Cancer has you. I tell him all the time. I was like, cancer is just it can't touch you. And every time I talk to him, it's like, they want me to try this, they want me to try that, and I'm just like, leave me alone. And he's just such a badass, man.
Well, please tell him hello next time you talk.
I definitely will. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Anyway, moving on, we're going to get into the second song. Again, this is called Circle. And I have my outline over here where I make little notes just to kind of keep me on track. And I have here the words, one of the prettiest country songs ever. And I mean that. It's just so cool. I played it for the wife last night, and the two of us were just like, this is our story too. And I feel like a lot of people probably feel that way. So tell us about this song. You guys wrote this one together?
I think he pretty much wrote it. And if I did anything, I sat there and listened to it, might have said, no, I think I like what you did there better. But this is mostly a Max.
That's
song,
writing. That's
for
writing.
sure.
That's writing together. This was a weird song. The first verse, and I've never had this happen before. The whole first verse came to me in total. Like,
wow,
woke me up in the middle of the night. Like, we were asleep, and I opened my eyes, and that whole first verse was there exactly as it is on the record. And I got out of bed, and I went into the bathroom, and I sang it into my phone, and then climbed back in bed. And then the next morning, listened to it. I was like, wow, that's actually okay. And so from there, it was just kind of where does this go from here? And it's not really a story song in as much as I like the fact that it's just like 4 little vignettes, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's pretty. I don't know.
It's one of my favorites.
I don't know where that stuff comes from. Sometimes it comes in the middle of the night.
And this was the very first duo single for y'all, right?
Correct.
That's right.
We went down and recorded it at Yellow Dog Studio?
Yeah,
with
Adam Oder.
With Adam Oder.
So why was it this song that you guys decided that it was time? Because you guys have been together for a while, right? So
we've been married almost. It's 17 years. It'll be
in November.
Yeah,
it'll be 18 years. Yeah.
We'll edit that out, Max. Don't worry. We'll
I wasn't sure either. I was like,
I guess because it was there and it was ready and we felt good about the song, and it just seemed like it was the appropriate thing to kind of lead off the project.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's, to be clear, one thing we try to explain to people, every song on this project is going to have some circle reference or implication. So every song will either have, you'll be able to say, this is on the Circle project because
loosely though. Yeah.
I love that.
It's getting more and more like, oh, that could be circular.
So we've probably got 5 songs done, and we're going in the studio in a couple of weeks to do another couple, 3 or 4.
I love to hear that, because that means you're hanging on to the tradition of song to song meaning something on a record rather than.
Yeah. And we'll probably put them out as singles, and then, but they do go to a collection. I just can't not do it that way.
Yeah.
I understand.
They go together for a reason, right? That's a truncheon of time. It's a slice of this period of our life. I don't know. That's just my poor old brain just can't do it any other way.
Well, I mean, as a fan, I understand both ways of doing things, but I would prefer to just be able to go wherever I stream music and play it from front to back. Like, that's how I always listen to music. So, like, a lot of times I won't even click on a single because I know there's nothing coming after it, right? Like, they're just then I'm at the mercy of the algorithm, and then I end up with God knows who as my next song. So I get it.
Right.
I didn't think about it that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, this is Circle, the debut single from the duo Max and Heather Stalling, live here on Boston Chris podcast. Y'all check it out.
Once upon a time in the middle of the summer, on a day with the sky built for blue, we were standing on the banks of a mighty pretty river, and the world turned around for me and you. Velvet sky reminds me of that episode in Arkansas. We were on our backs and talking about life. You described the difference between comets and meteors, and I fell in love again with you that night. And every circle brings me right back here to you. Then there was that time we were high up on a Ferris wheel, and in the distance storms began to brew. The man at the controls brought us down and gave us shelter, and the world turned around for me and you. And every circle brings me right back here to you. Now and then again, when the world feels different and doesn't seem to care how we are, I am just content holding you quietly and feel it as we move amongst the stars.
right, so we are back now. We are going to have a fun segment here. I don't know if you guys checked out an episode. I always say when I reach out, make sure you check out an episode or two. So that way you're not in the dark.
Yes.
But we have some having fun segments. This is just a bunch of short kind of things that I'll put out ahead of the episode. But I think you guys will have fun with this. Most artists do. The first one is called Did You Know? And essentially, can you tell us something that, can each of you tell us something that your fans may not know about you?
Am I going to tell about her and she's going to tell about me?
No.
She's like, no. I think the boss has spoken.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. Something my fans may not know. I mean, there's some stuff I can say, but I don't know if I want to. I mean, I was in the corps at Texas A&M.
There you go.
I don't know if anybody, some people know that, but I don't know if
A lot of people know that.
Not everybody though. Is that chicken?
A little bit.
All right, well, you do one and then I'll see if I
mean,
can come up with something.
I am so transparent. This is going to be hard. I really am. Let's see. I mean, I told you I went to real estate school. I was in the Rick Springfield fan club.
There you go. That's a great answer.
This is true.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I don't have guilt about this. Like, I listened to Jesse's Girl the other day, and it's still great. And you should listen to it and you tell me what you think. But
oh my gosh.
I had his poster on the wall. I knew his dog's name was Bud, I believe. He was
Even I know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. I would say a lot of people don't know that about me.
That's great.
They know that about me if they were my friends in junior high,
There you
probably.
go. That's great. Okay. Max, you got a better one now or no?
Man, I don't know. I wanted to be an astronaut. When I
There
was
you
a
go.
kid.
That's a good answer.
Well, I really did.
We'll take those two answers. That works well. Okay.
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 Next one is called Mount Rushmore, and each of you get an answer here as well. Obviously, you each get to answer all of these. But who is on your Mount Rushmore of influential artists to you? The most influential artist to you in your music?
You go first.
I mean, I won't say Rick Springfield. I mean, I'm going to say James Taylor. And I'm afraid this is why we are married, because we have a lot of, I think we're going to be very similar here, but Merle Haggard, like I had said, Jim Croce. I think Max is going to be on my Mount Rushmore as well.
Whatever.
I love that.
I mean,
That's
for real, you're my favorite songwriter. I mean, and actually, I mean, before we got together, I actually used to try to set my friends up with Max because I thought he was so amazing and just such a great person and such a great songwriter.
I would
So
just
he's
like to point
definitely-
out that she put you on her Mount Rushmore even after getting the
know.
date wrong on how many years y'all were together. So that was
That's right.
Well, then there's, I mean, no question that, the first woman on Mount Rushmore should be Heather Stalin.
Okay, now that doesn't count. Keep going. Keep going.
Well, okay. Well, I used to say that my biggest influences were the three Jims: James Taylor, Jim Croce, and Jimmy Buffett. Those were three very influential people. But I mean, I don't know, man. But Guy Clark and Robert Earl Keen.
I knew that's what.
Yeah, I mean, can I have two or five? I mean, there's five people.
I would say take one of the gyms off. I don't know.
Okay, well, it's definitely Robert and Gary and Guy Clark
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
John Prine's not
Guys,
far behind.
oh yeah.
There's too many, right? That's what makes it a
There's
tough
too many
There's
great
too
talents out
many.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So the
I'm
next
with you on the Guy
the
Clark.
next segment is called What the Heck? And this is just rapid fire. I'm going to ask 5 or
Come
6
on.
questions really fast, and you have to answer the first thing that comes into your brain. and each of you get
Okay, I'm ready.
each of you can give an answer. Okay. So I have a list of 50 questions here that I'm just going to randomly pull from.
Go.
First one: if you wrote a book, what would it be about?
Songwriting. Were you going to say fiddle playing?
I was gonna say fiddle playing. I don't know.
Dorks.
We are
Huge
dorks.
All right, number
Huge
2. Why do you
dorks.
think drive-up ATMs have Braille on them?
Because
I didn't know that they did.
They do.
people are
I
stupid.
assure you they do. I have checked.
Okay.
Because they just use the same buttons for all ATMs.
Okay. All right. Number 3. What is your weirdest talent?
Weirdest talent.
Weirdest talent.
Oh, mine is mimicking a dove.
That was on point.
No.
The pressure is on Heather.
I have nothing. I have nothing. I don't have that many talents. I'm sorry.
That's not true. Come on.
All right. Number 4. What do you think was the best thing before sliced bread?
Oh, sliced watermelon.
Are you sure that came out first?
I don't know, but I'm thinking watermelon before bread.
Yeah.
Some kind of melon.
I mean, I was gonna say peanut butter. I don't know. You're killing me here.
All right. Number 5. What word do you have a hard time pronouncing?
Thermocouple. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Then he pronounces it perfectly.
He doesn't have trouble pronouncing anything.
I don't know.
Ibuprofen.
Let's go.
There you go.
Okay.
Two really tough ones.
All right. That was what the heck. Last one. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Pineapple on pizza. Sausage and mushroom for me.
I'm not violently against it. It's not my go-to.
It's
but I'm
okay.
Not,
We'll eat
I'll
it.
do it. I'll do it.
We'll eat
Understand.
anything.
All right. Next segment is called One Artist. Who is one artist that you both wish the whole world knew about? And you can't choose yourself.
That what?
One artist that we wish the whole world knew about.
Oh man. Well, and this is where we're gonna get. We have so many friends in the music
Right,
business,
but I
and
mean-
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Like,
Right.
I could. It would have to be 10 of our closest friends. You know.
I mean, I think Courtney Patton is really, really super talented, and that is not taking anything away from a myriad of other fantastic friends of ours who are equally talented. But I had to give one answer, so.
And it's a great answer.
That's a good answer.
And she's going to Belize with us.
Yeah, so there's that too.
But it's already sold out, so it's not a thing.
I'm gonna go ahead and say my husband because
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, you're on my Mount Rushmore,
And we share a
have
bank
to.
account.
And you're also
He's
going to
taking me out to
Belize.
dinner tonight.
And you're also going to Belize.
And I'm going to go to Belize with her.
That's right.
So she's just making sure nobody messes with her sleep patterns when y'all are in Belize. Not you, not Courtney, nobody.
That's right.
All right,
That's
what's
right.
on y'all's wish list of things you haven't done yet?
Like wish list of things we haven't done yet.
So like
We have not played. We have not played overseas. We actually did. We actually played with Jason, Edie, and Courtney Patton. We played in Italy. When was
Yeah,
that? That was back right before the
2019.
pandemic.
We think we might have brought COVID back with us. from
No, we
Italy.
did not.
mm,
We did not. But
can you
We were-
prove
we,
that you
I
did?
mean, we really haven't.
Prove
We've
you
never
haven't?
really done we have not done a tour overseas, and so I feel like that's
Yeah.
one thing that I'd like to do.
I would like that's my answer too. I'd like to tour overseas in a meaningful way.
And I'd like to become better at math.
Yeah. I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
but
really
that's
surprised
never
y'all
gonna
haven't played overseas yet. That actually surprises me a bit.
Just the one time, and it was
Yeah.
more of I think it was more of just a fun trip with a little bit of playing sprinkled in. But yeah, that's one thing that I hope to get to do sooner than later.
All right, next one is called personal best. This is this doesn't have to be a music answer, just so you know.
Okay.
But what do you think is your personal best accomplishment so far?
Marrying her.
Being a mom and having a really great marriage. Those are my two, I think, best accomplishments.
Awesome stuff. All right, next one's called biggest impact, and this can be also an answer any way you guys want to take it. It could be a person, a moment, an event. But what person, moment, event, something like that, do you think had the biggest impact on your life so far? Like, in other words, you can look back and this is the moment that everything kind of changed for the better for you.
You answer first, because I mean I know my answer, but you answer first.
I have a few of them, but I guess I would say, you know, my mom and dad had always said, you know, they always told me music was a hobby, that I wasn't supposed to do it for a living. And so they wanted me to be a lawyer or a doctor. And so they, no matter where I played in Branson, my dad would say, oh, there's College of the Ozarks, you know? And so I went to a lot of college just for them. And then Andie Kay and I, finally, we had played pretty much the songs off of that first record. And we played them for my parents. And my dad said, okay, how about we take the rest of this money that we were going to give you for college and they paid for our first CD.
Wow.
And I think that finally was like, okay, I can do this for a living. My parents are behind me. So I would say that would be
That's a good
one of them.
Yeah.
So anyway, your turn.
And this seems kind of cliche, but 9/11, because I was still working for Frito-Lay. I had a couple of records out, but I was still like, go full time, don't go full time, you know, and I was still traveling for the company. And I was working 4 days a week and gigging on the weekends, and it was going, but I wasn't fully sure that's what I was going to do. And then it just made me realize I could have very easily been on one of those flights on American Airlines, you know, being Dallas as a hub. And I was like, I'm doing it. So that happened. And then I turned in my resignation on like January 5th, as soon as we got back. You know, I vested with the company, and then I was like, I'm out.
Incredible stuff, man. I never would have known that, but that's just an incredible answer. You mentioned the upcoming project. Tell us more about what's happening in the future for both of y'all, 2025.
Well, we're going to Belize. We have we do an annual trip down to Belize. This will be our third year. We're doing that in late July. Mm-hmm. And it's the We Ain't Drinking Alone Belize. In case we ever do another one and do it, We Ain't Drinking Alone Germany. I don't know, something. But we'll do that, and that's going to be fun. That's a week-long trip. Like I said, Courtney Patton's going with us. Sorry, folks, it's sold out already, but we'll do that. And then we are constantly chipping away at this record that we're making. We're going to go in the studio with Lloyd Maines 3 weeks. And then we got a bunch of gigs, and then we're going to probably look into touring overseas.
Nice.
There's
Making
that.
the wish list come true. Man, you know, it didn't even dawn on me, but you guys, Max, you have just had an incredible chance or opportunity to work with some of the best producers in Texas, Bruce Robinson and Lloyd Maines. And man, that had to be something else too. Like, just, I mean, they don't just work with anybody, right? So that's going to be validating to you, right?
It is validating, and it's I feel very humbled to have worked with the people that yes, I was shocked when these people answered my phone call or email and then said yes. I was really, really surprised that those things happen. I worked with Bobby Field, who's produced a lot of really cool records over the years. He's done some Hayes Carl stuff. Mm-hmm. And if you go dig up Bobby Field, he's got a pretty long list of projects. And so, yeah, I feel, knock on wood, it's been pretty blessed existence.
Well, we are excited about new music, and so if people are just hearing about y'all for the first time, where can they follow along with the journey so far?
They can go to maxstalling.com. We really should have a maxandheatherstalling.com, but everything's kind of off of that maxstalling.com site. So you can get all that info. We're on the socials. Both Heather is on the Instagram and the Facebooks and everything, and the same for me.
I don't Twitter, or X, I guess you call it now. I don't know why. I just haven't jumped on that.
But we're not TikTok. We haven't stepped into the TikTok world.
No.
So we're kind of old school social media.
Well, you guys are going to be on TikTok a lot from this episode, so there's that.
Oh yeah? Well, maybe we'll have to go get an account.
Yeah. So I do.
I might have one.
Well, you know how they what they call waterfalling singles, where they'll put out a new single every month or whatever. I kind of do the same thing in advance to the episodes,
Right.
Where the episode will come out on Friday or Saturday, and then I waterfall different content every day that week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and a new clip or segment will come out to try to get buzz for the full episode on the weekend.
Do you do it primarily on TikTok? Is that your main
TikTok,
outlet?
Instagram, X, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Facebook.
Okay, 10-4.
Okay.
We can help on at least 3 of those.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you'll be tagged in everything. You guys will be sick of me by the end of the week. So.
Well, so I wanted to take a minute and just say, man, thank you for what you do and spreading the word and being an advocate for artists and giving us a platform to come out and talk and ply our trade. Thank you.
Oh man,
that's greatly appreciated.
It's a huge pleasure, and honestly, an honor of mine for you guys trusting me to tell your story. Like I know the gravitas of that. I really do, and I feel like that's kind of the wall between somebody like me and an artist is that trust, right? And I mean, you don't know me from Adam, and you guys are on here, sharing stuff that you've never shared before. So believe me, I understand that too.
Well, you're a really good interviewer.
You really are. You're very good at what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, this is Steve Dorff, and thanks for listening to the Boston Chris Show.